Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Roxanne. Thank you for my brooms as always. Althea, good morning. I hear you, Roxanne. No distractions. I'll try. I'll try. Sometimes it cannot be helped. Um, and the only reason why I haven't blocked them is because it gives me opportunity to expose the stupidity that exists on the other side. You know? So, and then you're able to weed out who genuinely looking for information, who wants to be a mischief maker, and who just fully dunce. Unfortunately, the majority of them fall in the latter. Oriagani, morning. Patricia Reed, morning to you. Rude, morning. Morning, Ruckman. Gillian Timmerman, morning. Althea says, I get you, I get you. Christopher Serrett, morning, sir. Shedley Jimenez, morning. Kathy Ann Best, morning to you. Denise Bramble, morning, Denise. Angela Carty, morning. Let's see who we have on Facebook. Jonathan Carr, morning, sir. Morning, Diane. Jennifer Ferron, morning to you. Gemma White Isaac, morning, Gemma. Marva James, morning. Alicia Alman de Rocher, morning. Morning, Joy. Christopher Siffy, morning, sir. Claire Irish. What is this? Morning to you. Ruth Fronten, George Alman, Alison Boyce, morning guys, Emmeline Harvey, morning. Deborah Duranti, Melka Rock, morning guys. What is this? Arthur Lucian James, Alberta Sampath, morning. Roxanne says, yes, I know we need to educate them, but the agenda ain't shifting. So true, so true. There's some of them are sent to do exactly what they do. But it just gives an opportunity to, educate them further, and others who may be listening who genuinely don't know. Unfortunately, there are some of them out there who genuinely don't know, and because of the lack of pushback against the propaganda and the lies, you have people running all over the place thinking that, well, the propaganda is true. Marlene Pantin, Kester Billy, morning guys. Margaret Thomas, morning Margaret. Morning Jen. Leon Joseph, morning sir. Karimu Bukari, morning Cyril Mayas, morning to you sir. Michael, morning. Patti Kutu. Leon says, lovely weather up here in Toko. Nice. I feel I need to take a Toko trip one of these days. I haven't been up there in many years. Long time. Candace Joseph, Joyce Neves, Judy Bowen, morning to you folks. Pamela David, morning. Patricia Lazare, morning. Betty James, Eden Thomas, Teresa Thomas, morning to all of you. What's the time there? 6:43 a.m. on the 28th day of November. 2024 is almost to a close. Before you know it, it's 2025. Donald Trump will be president of the U.S. Good morning to His Excellency, President of the Republic of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, First Lady Mauricia Kagan, Pamela O'Connor, morning to you, David Taylor, Anton Batiste, Ariane Lucian Smith, Raymond Roberts, morning guys. No, I ain't saying there's no pushback in agenda. There's not enough pushback. Case in point, a new library was opened, commissioned in La Joqueta a couple days ago. Ian Allen decided to post that story on his Facebook page. And well, I tell you, the amount of negative comments that library has gotten, right? Again, from the fully duns, who feel that $42 million is too much to spend on a library, is a waste of money. The people in La Joqueta can't read. If you want to hide something from PNM supporters, put it in a book. They wouldn't even know their name if somebody hold up a sign with it. I mean, it was just nasty. Over the last time I checked was over 1,200 comments, and the majority of those comments were negative, right? But that money could have been spent on healthcare. That money could have been spent to fix roads. Is wasted money on the people in Nahoketa and environs, because the library not making any sense. This one, Naz Mamala, who is Miss Weedhead, always advocating for the government to start issuing licenses for people to sell weed and all of that. She is saying she's sure it don't have any free Wi-Fi in the library and all of that, and people probably had to come with their Wi-Fi device, and others saying what, you don't need a library because everybody have a cell phone, so any information that you could get in the library you could get on your cell phone. So what's the point of that? And it just went down that road. So Mr. Neil Personal, who I think is the chairman of NALIS, stand to be corrected if not so. He had to join in and in the comments and correct persons who were saying things that were not true, inclusive of Miss Muller, right? But I have not seen sufficient defense of that library, which I think it's a very good initiative. Now people will say that Foster Cummins doing that because that's just for self-aggrandizement and the like, but there is need for it. And when you see the pictures of inside the library, it is not like the traditional library we knew years ago, where you go in and it's just shelves and shelves of books. You have an amphitheater in there that I think could hold 90 something or 100 and something people. So it's a multi-purpose facility. It's not just a library. It has meeting spaces. They have computers set up with internet so persons could go and do their research, right? So it's not just about reading books, but some people behaving as if reading a book is something of the past, right? That and you see it comes from a place where a lot of parents now are turning their children into tablet children, right? Or phone. Just stick a tablet in their hand or stick a phone in their hand. I mean, you have 16-month-olds and 18-month-olds who will take their parents' phone and they go in on YouTube and pulling up the videos that they want to see, Coco Melon and Miss Rachel, and they want to see Choo Choo Train and all of these kind of things. It is good that the children are able to navigate technology and that at that young age. But to what extent? The novelty of picking up an actual book, a hard copy book, and reading it, to me, is not lost. There is still novelty in that, but we have become so tech savvy now that we have audiobooks, right? You don't need to read the book again. You just go on the app and the phone reading the book for you, and you just sit down and listen. So it's too much trouble now to turn pages, to bookmark. All of these are things of the past now, right? But they're using this library to insult people in La Joqueta. Yeah, they fully done. Some of them need a library card. When you read some of the comments, they desperately need a library wherever it is they live in. Aside from the fact that their English is terrible, right? I mean, everything. The swimming pool in Lavantil and Mova, they have a problem with that. Now they have a problem with the library in anything that is done in the same PNM communities that they love to say is a hotspot. And that's where crime is most rampant and so on. Things are happening in these communities to be able to, first of all, draw the youth from a potential life of crime. So what is happening in Lavantil and Mova with the use of the swimming pools? They didn't just build pool and they're there, and as is the case with some, more often than not the case with community centers, somebody have the keys and they figure they're in charge, that gives them a certain level of power. So if you want to use a community center, you have to go to them, and you don't have that. They have actual activities taking place in these pool facilities for young people, and the not so young, the young at heart. So they have for the elderly, if it is that, based on videos that I have seen, they could go and do different aquatic exercises and so on. They're teaching the young people to swim. They have swimming meets. I saw the same thing happening at the pool in Malabar there, which I think was the most recent of the pools that was open. School is about to close for 1 month for the Christmas holiday. And so that when the festivities are over and the young ones are still at home, they want stuff to do. They could walk down to the library, and for the younger ones who may not have the cell phone or the tablet, show them you could still pick up a book and read. Introduce them to that. Not everything is about scrolling through. And I saw some people, the people with the nonsense about everybody have a phone here, but not everybody has a data plan. Many people rely constantly on free Wi-Fi wherever they can pick it up. And when persons purchase a data plan, these 30-day plans or whatever it is, they use it. They have to use it in a efficient and manner such that they don't use up their data, and then they have to go and find money for another data plan. So sometimes some young people, they come home and they might be living in a house with a lot of people, so it's difficult for them to study in that environment. Perhaps the environment may not be of the best. Not everybody has electricity, right? So they could go down to the library and do research, do their work in a quiet space. Some people just want to get away sometimes from the noise in the house. I just need to go somewhere quiet and just relax and maybe even read a book. They might go walking through the library and see a book that they weren't even aware of. Let's see what this is about. This is looking interesting. I think I could check this out and read it. These are the things. But they have a history with that. And always they could tell you, and I keep saying, everything the PNM bill is always a vanity project. Always a vanity project. They don't see the utility in it because it's built in a PNM constituency. So if it's not jealousy because they don't have one in their constituency, you gotta hear about that. So they've maligned the library. Well, to hell with that. To the people, the residents, the constituents of La Horquetta Talparo, you have a library. Make good use of it, right? There's space in there for a number of other things beside what you would normally do in a library. Utilize it, right? It's your taxpayers' money that was spent to build it anyway. So they have meeting rooms. Maybe you have little groups in the constituency who looking for meeting spaces. They could go there, right? Do that. But again, as I was saying, I'm not seeing sufficient. But then again, it's difficult too, because the rumor mill and the propaganda machinery, there is not sufficient, unfortunately. We do the best that we can, but yeah. Right. Should I play that point or should I go there? That's not. Right, let me read this one first. So I'll give another case in point, which I think has not received, again, sufficient exposure. Media release from the Ministry of Finance, November 26th. And I saw this because somebody sent it to me on WhatsApp, right? But again, we got an opposition mislead public on UE salary negotiations. This is from the Ministry of Finance, for immediate release. The Minister of Finance, Colin Burt, MP, has taken note of statements made by representatives of the West Indies group of university teachers who appear to be unaware of who their employer is and with whom they should negotiate terms and conditions of employment. Regrettably, the media, as is often the case, has not researched this matter and has regurgitated the inaccurate statements made by WIGOT and opposition MPs verbatim. It needs to be made clear that the government is not the employer of academic staff at the UE and is not party to their wage agreements, and as such, the Minister of Finance does not and cannot negotiate collective agreements with WIGOT. No Minister of Finance has ever done this, and no legal framework exists for this. The only role of the Minister of Finance is to advise the administration at UE on how much funding the government can afford to provide to the UE on an annual basis. This is because the UE does not generate sufficient income to pay its expenses and relies on the government for a subvention, which is currently more than 500 million annually. Accordingly, contrary to statements published in the Daily Express today, the Minister of Finance has not engaged in any discussions or negotiations with WIGOT on salaries since he is not their employer. Nor does the principal of UE negotiate salaries for UE academic staff, with the Minister of Finance, as inaccurately portrayed in today's Daily Express, since, again, the Minister of Finance is not a party to any collective agreement with WIGOT or the administration. Further, it is necessary to correct misinformation put into the public domain by the opposition MP for Kuva South, who demanded that the Minister of Finance take the WIGOT wage dispute to the industrial court. Apart from the fact that the Minister of Finance is not the employer of the academic staff at UE and therefore would have no locus standi in any application made to the industrial court, on this matter, as a former senior trade union leader, the opposition MP for Kuva South must know, inter alia, that under Section 2(3)(c) of the Industrial Relations Act of 1972, no person shall be regarded as a worker if he is a member of the teaching service as defined in the Education Act or is employed in a teaching capacity by a university or other institution of higher learning. For the last 52 years, WIGOT has had no recourse to the industrial court to settle any of its wage disputes. In that context, it is disturbing and disappointing that the labor spokesman for the opposition UNC could be so unaware of the law and the factual matrix associated with the matter. Because the Minister of Finance has no locus in this collective agreement between WIGOT and the UE administration, the Minister has not commented on this matter before. However, the Minister has no choice but to correct the record when the opposition MP attempted to draw him into the matter in the Parliament and made several false, misleading, and inflammatory statements. On a final note, the dispute resolution procedures referred to by the Minister in the Parliament on Friday, November 26, 2024, are the internal grievance procedures outlined in the rules for academic staff and senior administrative staff and professional staff, published by the UE in May 2015. For the avoidance of doubt, the Minister of Finance is not involved in that dispute resolution process and cannot be, since those are the internal rules and internal grievance procedures of the UE. Further, the settlement of any disputes as a result of the grievance procedures is a matter for the UE to manage, since the government has already indicated how much additional funding it can provide to the UE administration for the settlement of this wage dispute, namely 75 million in back pay and an additional 12 million per year in recurrent expenditure. If the dispute resolution process arrives at a different amount, then the administration at UE will have to manage the resources carefully. Unfortunately, all those speaking on this matter seem totally unaware of the facts, history, process, and law related to this matter. The Honorable Colin Imbert, MP, Minister of Finance. Right, so there you have it from the Minister of Finance. He is not the employer of the lecturers at UE. And so contrary to what Indira Rampasad and Rudy Indar Singh, who should know better, the Shadow Minister of Labour, who ought to know better, Minister saying, it's not me. I am not the employer. And when this matter came up, I was questioning the same thing, because I'm saying UE is not solely Trinidad. You have UE in Jamaica, Barbados, and so on. I'm saying I thought that the regional governments make contributions to the institution for its running, right? And therefore it's left up to the management and the administration of the various campuses to treat with these matters of industrial relations in terms of the monies that they receive and how they manage it. Because what is the money given to you for? To do what? I just ask it. I would assume salaries is part of what you're supposed to use the money for. And therefore, if negotiations have to take place, has to be with the people who are given these subventions to manage it. But it's good that the minister was able to put this out there for clarity. See all the noise. But we, even in the face of this, Indira Rampasad, based on her utterances, as we would have heard Mr. Yates mention a couple of days ago, seems intent on making this thing political. Because there is industrial unrest. And so, hey, let me join in the thing too now. I saw the other night you had Cement and Waterfront Workers Trade Union and OWT and so on and all of them. Well, protesting, as Mr. Roger said, this is not industrial action. We're just exercising our right to protest. So let's come together. Shades of 2009 all over again, right? So are we to expect that soon enough the entire labor movement will come together as they did in 2010 to be part of the Faizabad Accord? We don't know where this accord will be, where the 2025 accord will be, what they will call it. But as I said, shades of 2009 all over again. Trade union movement come together, right? All of a sudden, unrest, and yeah, next thing they end up in a partnership. Where is the union? Where is the political party for the trade union movement? Where is the MSD? So they just sit down on the sidelines and wait for the trade union movement to come together. And then, all right, we just go and sit with Prasad Bisesa and we endorse her and we endorse the UNC, as many of these trade union leaders have been doing. It's interesting to see, though, that Watson Duke, former PSA president, has thrown his weight behind the prime minister with respect to the proposed salary increases. In fact, Mr. Duke is saying that he finds the 87,000 proposed by the SRC is too small, that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago should be earning at least $100,000 or more, given the position that he holds, the responsibilities that he has. Whether or not Mr. Duke is saying this because he still has delusions of one day being Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and wants to, as they would say, secure the purse, secure the bag, right? But he, as he says, I am no friend of the Prime Minister, I am no friend of the PNM. In fact, he considers himself to be public enemy, well, public enemy number one in respect of the Prime Minister. But in this instance, as a former union leader, speaking in that capacity, he is of the view that the pay raises are in fact justified. As compared to the leader of the opposition who says, don't raise my salary. Right. If playing smart with foolishness was a person, maybe that should be she should, anyway, let me not go there. Don't increase my pay. This is the position taken by opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa with respect to Salaries Review Commission's 120th report, which was tabled in the Parliament on November 15th. However, she maintained her previous position that the salaries of public servants and judicial officers should be increased. Prasad Bisesa was responding to questions from the Express yesterday by phone on the report, which recommended that with effect from October 1st, 2020, the current salary of the opposition leader of $29,590 per month should be increased to $47,500 per month, and then increase from October 1st, 2023 to $52,159. 1 million back pay for PM, and here they come again. Here they come again. The report recommended with effect from October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2023, the Prime Minister should receive $80,000, and then on October 1st, 2023, his monthly salary would be increased to $87,847. If recommendations are accepted by the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's back pay would be about $1 million before tax, and the SRC also recommended a hike in the President's salary from $67,270 to $73,920, with effect from April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2023, and then $81,170 from April 1st, 2023. Prasad Bisesa said, I don't agree with any increase in salaries for the President, Prime Minister, or myself as leader of opposition. I think our salaries are enough at this point. Really? Would have been nice if you had gone into granular details as to what exactly is your salary. What is the exact amount that you receive every month? This from the person who, once upon a time, not so long ago, told us that for years, she and Gregory saving chirrup, little bit. When they get a little money, they put on something, they buy some bricks, then they buy some cement, and then they buy, some galvanized, and they do a little thing, and then they do a little thing, and bit by bit the house was going up and so on, and then all of a sudden, in 2010, after she became Prime Minister, the house just suddenly finished, and it grew, right, with helipad and all. So what a way she has come from not being able to finish her house over a 10-year period, not earning enough income to be able to finish her house, to finishing it in about 6 months, to where she can now say our salaries are enough at this point in time. You know the prime minister's expenses. You know the expenses of the president for you to say our salaries are enough at this point in time. Maybe you could say that as Camille Robinson Reggie said when she was approached for comment by the media. When you would have stolen significant sums, you don't need a pay raise. I answer. I just, just questioning. I mean, there is an allegation in the public domain that has never been resolved that Mrs. Prasad Bissessa received 2 checks totaling $8 million from Ishkal Baransing and Steve Ferguson to facilitate Section 34. An allegation that was made by one Jack Warner, a man with whom she has now reconciled, right? A man who is now hoping to once again represent the UNC for a seat in the general election, the upcoming election. She never sued Mr. Warner on that claim, despite the fact saying that she was going to bring an avalanche of lawsuits after the 2015 general election. It did not happen. And as such, that allegation remains floating, remains unresolved. But I mean, if there is any truth to it, then of course one could make a statement like that. $8 million is a lot of money, right? Especially when the manner in which you received it was such that you didn't have to pay any taxes on it. Right? So you get to keep the whole hog, the whole 8. I just say. However, as I previously stated, I have no objection to increasing the salaries of our public servants and judicial officers. This is a matter for the government. The opposition has no say. I said previously that the opposition have its say. Government has its way, or that is how the parliament works. So that is for the government to decide where they want to go. But what I would say is this: people are only looking at the parliamentarians, but it also covers all the senior public servants who work very, very hard. And it's unfortunate that she would only say this on a telephone interview. Say it on your platform, right? Tell your fully done supporters that they need to hear that. But again, this is not sufficiently aired in the public domain, because when the media speaks on this topic, they always focus on prime minister and how much salary increase the prime minister going to get and what the prime minister's back pay. Even in this article, they couldn't help themselves, but we had to chuck that in there. Still, we had to remind people, right? Yeah, chuck it in. Yeah. PM does not care. The former prime minister reiterated that some public servants are deserving of increases. They should benefit from it. You could leave us out at the top. Rowley, no. Kamala, no. The president, no. But the rest of public servants and judicial officers, give it to them. They deserve to get a raise. Okay, so you said you shouldn't get it, Dr. Rowley shouldn't get it, and the president shouldn't get it. So what about the other parliamentarians? What about the MPs? Because you didn't exclude them here. Should they get it? Based on what she's saying here, just say no for the top 3, the president, the prime minister, leader of the opposition, no for them, and everybody else, yes. So you're playing smart with foolishness still, because as a member of parliament who currently earns about 17,000 some for the month as an elected MP, that figure would also go up, so you would still be benefiting from a pay raise anyway. But you could play on the ignorance of the general public, who wouldn't take the time to go and do their research to see exactly what constitutes the pay packet of all senior politicians in the country, members of parliament and so on, down to the granular details. How is it that an ordinary MP who has no portfolio, who is on the opposition bench, is able to afford these expensive vehicles that you would see lined up on either side of Abercrombie Street when they have parliament, whether it's the sitting of the House of Representatives or the Senate? Some beautiful vehicles, expensive vehicles. And if it is that you're earning $17,000 and change before tax, and I need to stress this point, that all parliamentarians pay income tax. The prime minister, all this big figure that they quote in here, and I'm glad they mentioned it here, that the prime minister's back pay would be $1 million before tax. It is here in black and white. So all you who like to say, oh, they pay no tax and they pay no tax. The prime minister pays income tax. So when people like to talk about, yes, it's our taxpayers' money paying for this and whatnot, the prime minister is a taxpayer too. And he pays more taxes, more income taxes than the majority of you all who are always talking that rubbish. right? He pays more income tax than all there. So he has, and just on that basis alone, he has a lot to say with respect to these things. But these members of the public behave as if the government ministers don't pay taxes. Come on. The only tax they don't pay, and I've said this on numerous occasions, are the taxes that are associated with the purchase of one vehicle every 2 years. So whether it be VAT, motor vehicle tax, any other taxes associated with the purchase of a vehicle, it is waived for the purchase of one vehicle every 2 years, right? And if it is, you decide to buy a second vehicle, you don't have that facility. You have to pay all of the taxes. You're allowed one. And if you sell that vehicle before a certain period of time, I think it's 5 years or something like that, or between 5 to 7 years or so, then you would be made to pay whatever taxes would have applied to that vehicle. In fact, it is stamped on the certified copy, right? That this vehicle is not to be sold before a certain period of time, as the case may be. So, but again, these things the media wouldn't go and delve into to educate the public so that they could understand instead of going out there and talking rubbish. She goes on, she pointed that the SRC report was tabled and no government member, not even the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister, gave any indication as to what would happen next. Chiefly, if the recommendations would be accepted, I think they tabled it to push it through during the Christmas to Carnival season with the hope that citizens would be distracted by the festivities. Prasad Bisesa said the Prime Minister, Dr. Rowley, has proven in the past 10 years of office that he truly does not care and puts himself as a priority. Really? How so? How so? This coming from the woman who, while she was Prime Minister for the majority of the time, refused to travel commercially, right? The only Prime Minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago who would have wet leased or utilized jumbo jets to travel abroad on multiple occasions, right? In which case, the delegation that went with her was far less than what the aircraft could hold. When she went to South Africa for Nelson Mandela's funeral, you recall, she decided that she wanted to give everybody a drop. So all the prime ministers of the region at the time, she decided, here what? Well, they want to go. I have a jumbo jet, from Caribbean Airlines. We have room. Yeah, you have to pay nothing. The only thing you have to do when you come on the plane, you have to come and sit down next to me one by one while my media house records you paying obeisance and praising me for this lovely gesture and how grateful you are that I offered to take you all at no cost on this trip, round trip at the expense. Only expense is to be borne by the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. I'll see if I find that video. Been trying to find it, but it's been a little difficult, but I ain't giving up. One by one, she's sitting down in business class, and one by one, each prime minister had to come and sit down next to her and sing her praises. That's what she like, self-aggrandizement. Oh, yes. Yes, and she just sit down there with a big smile on her face while they're talking to the camera and telling them how grateful they are. So while that aircraft was taken out of service from Caribbean Airlines, who were wet leasing, and they had to pay, even though not in service, commercial service, they still had to pay for it. And then they had to now go and find the money for another one, right, to replace that one. So you're paying at least for 2 aircraft. And once you reach in South Africa and everybody come off the plane, they park up somewhere waiting for them for however long, and then to bring them back. And you had to go and drop off everybody else before you reach back to Trinidad and Tobago. All of these people now who cussing Dr. Rowley, like Mark, like Leo, like Winston Bachelor. What you all thought about that? That was magnanimous of her. Yeah, that was so, yeah, that was, yeah. She was so kind, so generous to do that at the expense of Trinidad and Tobago taxpayers. Between 2010 to 2015, nobody struggling. Nah. That money that was spent by the government for that aircraft on that one occasion, one of several, that money couldn't be used to buy more hospital beds. That money couldn't be used to help people who were struggling. That money couldn't have been used for for educational purposes. That money couldn't be used to pave a road. When she did the same thing when she went to Australia, when she did the same thing when she went to China, when she did the same thing when she went to Brazil with her grandson to watch the World Cup. All of that, all of those times, right? India and so on, when she carry a whole set of people. So you're carrying delegation. You come back, we got absolutely nothing from that. $15 million of taxpayers' money spent. I wonder what was Mark's position on that then? If he thinks that that was money well spent. Whose money was that? Not taxpayers' money. Nah, that wasn't taxpayers' money. That was money well spent. And yes. But she has the audacity to come and talk about the Prime Minister only cares about and puts himself as a priority. Dr. Rowley has never done that. He has no problem sitting down on the plane with everybody else, even if you have people on the plane who don't like him and probably cuss him and say, yes, see Rowley sit down up in front of Rowley so and whatnot and thing like that. He don't care. Right? And he doesn't need, unlike her, you don't need a nurse. Right? Taxpayers' money again spent for her sister to play nurse because she doesn't know how to take her own medication. She need help. But yet still here we are. How many years later? She's more frail than she was when she was Prime Minister. Back then, her health has deteriorated since then. So she's not as strong as she was back then when she needed a nurse. But today, where is the nurse? Where is her sister? How come she doesn't need a sister? She doesn't need a nurse now. But you needed one back then at taxpayers' expense. So can we expect that if she comes back in office next year as Prime Minister, that we will see a repeater that Vidwati would come back on the scene? I just asking, but people like Mark and him have no problem with taxpayers' money being used so that her sister could joyride all over the world on the excuse that, well, she's the assistant, she's the Prime Minister's nurse aide. No, assisting her with her medication and thing, and she had to get her diabetes injection and all that. Yeah, she need that. Yeah, but Rowley only cares about himself. She said she would not be surprised if the government adopts the report and its recommendations even before the general election, which is constitutionally due in 2025. This is a Prime Minister without shame. He built a $70 million palace, official PM's residence in Tobago, bought $3 million in paintings, spent $20 million in trips, and just allocated $50 million for fetting and rum drinking. Do you think he cares what the citizens think? He does not care. He will pass the SRC report and raise his pay. And when he raises his pay, your pay raise too. You wouldn't tell people that the income you earn in the same salary as the Prime Minister, even though you do far less work, even though you are not as present in the Parliament, right? But you taking home the same salary as the Prime Minister every month as a former Prime Minister, but you wouldn't talk about that. So perhaps if, in fact, as you say, the Prime Minister and the government accepts the report, what you need to do is to tell the Parliament, listen, don't pay me no increased salary. You see how Jack Warner is say you need taking $1 a month? Tell them that. You see me and the rest of us on the opposition bench, we don't want no pay raise. Keep that money. Yes, so they increase it, but we're saying we don't want it. Keep it. You feel she couldn't say that? Never happen. Never happen. Prasad Bisesa said further, remember, he already sorted his pension. He wants his money now. He doesn't like his money to sleep out, but that is what citizens wanted. They rejected laptops, school textbooks, scholarships, hospitals. They rejected hospitals. This lying two-town wretch. Really? You built one hospital, the Cuba Hospital, one, in Ohio, right? Behind God foot. One. Keith Rowley built Arima Hospital, Grandy Hospital, Point Fortin Hospital, Roxborough Hospital, and the Port of Spain Central Block is almost complete. Modern hospital, where instead of, for those of us who would have visited that old Port of Spain Hospital, the old Central Block, right? Where it was only natural ventilation. So you go inside there, and when you look at it, it's just this big open space with a set of beds there. No real privacy per se. Even somebody thing when there's the curtains to block off half the time it's working, and they had to open the windows and so on. So on a hot day, those poor patients inside there under pressure. Now they're going to be in air-conditioned accommodation. Air-conditioned accommodation, right? But she didn't see it fit when she was Prime Minister to fix that problem. You know what? Because that is in Port of Spain. That's in PNM constituency. We don't care about that. We don't care about that. What she did? She converted the Chancery Lane complex into a teaching hospital. But want to come here now and say that the citizens rejected hospitals. Really? Prasad says, so what does I always say? For them, less is more. So one is more than five. One is more than five. Never mind the fact that they try all how to take responsibility and credit for the hospitals that Keith Rowley built. And so we needed to point out the fact that all she did was turn sod. On the 7th of May, 2015, exactly 4 months before the general election, she turned the sod for the Arima Hospital, and that's all they did. There was no financing in place to build the hospital or anything. And when this administration came in, they had to retender and all of that. They had to find the money to build. So whether it is they took loans and what came from the treasury, and so to build this hospital. Point Fortin Hospital, she turned the sod for the Point Fortin Hospital on 2 weeks later, on the 21st of May, 2015. So as I keep telling the fully dones, unless it was these hospitals were fabricated hospitals or you all were building hospitals for ants, there is no way the People's Partnership could have built that hospital. And as somebody who lives in the East and who would have had cause to pass that way 2-3 times a week, I know for a fact there was no hospital there in Arima. The only hospital they had was the old building, which they have now incorporated very well with the new one. And the quality service that Jack Warner told us about a couple months ago that he would have received there, dubbing the Arima Hospital the Ministry of Health's best kept secret. So to come and talk this nonsense about the rejected hospitals, which hospitals? How many were you going to build? Miss me with that rubbish. Laptops. This administration distributed over 78,000 laptops between 2020 to 2023. But again, where is this information? It is right there. One needs only to go and research and see. 78,000 laptops were distributed. And not just to students. Also, teachers would have gotten laptops. Unlike when she gave out laptops, they gave it to the students. It was never incorporated into the curriculum, so it had no practical use, really. She didn't have COVID when she was Prime Minister. So even to facilitate online classes, there was no need. How many of those laptops are still around? What was the shelf life of those laptops? You all give out contracts, buy a set of cut rate, no good laptops, and then give out big contracts to repair it when in the space of 2-3 months, a lot of these laptops needed fixing. And you had somebody waiting in the wings to get the contractor repaired. You go again. They rejected school textbooks, scholarships. Really? Prasad Bisasa? Children's Life Fund. People like Mark and them just get cheated up with that. They prefer to pay for Rowley's $50 million fetting, traveling, and $70 million palace. Yet still, and the media has never really focused on this fact, that in 5 years, according to Dr. Rowley, Prasad Bisasa would have spent under the office of the Prime Minister and the diplomatic center residence and so on, $172 million in 5 years. Dr. Rowley spent 102 in 9 years. After 9 years, a whole 4 years extra, and he still hasn't reached her 172 million. So when she wants to come and talk nonsense here about they voted for Rowley's 50 million fetting, Dr. Rowley, in 9 years, he didn't have no big set of it. He never used taxpayers' money to throw no big bram at the diplomatic center for the what they refer to as the so-called 1%. He didn't do that. And I'm pretty sure that whenever he demits office, whoever comes after is not going to go to the Prime Minister's residence and find $500,000 in alcohol, right? What they didn't get to cut out. I am pretty sure we're not going to see that. We're not going to see any bill coming from National Helicopter Services for $6.1 million because you refuse to stay in the official residence of the Prime Minister, which was built for that purpose. But you had your family, your sister who played nurse. You had her and her children living in the Prime Minister's residence, eating high off the hog at taxpayers' expense, living large, driving in the official vehicles for the Prime Minister. But the fully don'ts wouldn't condemn you for that. That is what we voted against. Not this nonsense that you're putting here that we rejected laptops and rejected school textbooks and scholarships and hospitals. Really? Miss us with that now. You build a health center in Karanaj to try and show up Dr. Rowley, so you build it in his constituency. right? And then want to play a hand in the man a cupcake when you commissioned it. Dr. Rowley built the Diego Martin Administrative Complex, the Diego Martin Sporting Complex, the Diego Martin Health Center, which I always say does always look like a mini hospital on Wendy Fitzwilliam Boulevard. All of these things were constructed, right? These are the things that we voted for. We didn't want what you were offering, madam. At a news conference on Sunday, opposition MP Barry Padura called on the government to break its silence on the SRC report and tell the country what it intends to do. The government has been silent on the issue. I wish that what you all would tell us is if it is that the government does in fact adopt the report and the increases go through, if you are going to accept the money or not. That's all we want to hear from you all, nothing else. Are you going to accept the money or not? And we know damn well you'll be happy to accept the money plus back pay. But don't increase my salary. That's not what she had to say at that event. Let me get the other thing here. Just give me one second. Get this here.
Opposition leader has warned that she will deport illegal.
What is this? Right.
Illegal Venezuelan migrants and develop a migrant policy if she's elected into government.
At a UNC meeting last night in Barataria, Kamala Prasad-Bisesa condemned the government on its foreign policies. She said there is no proper migrant policy in place at present. She said Trinidad and Tobago has been generous in opening its borders to Venezuelans who had been struggling in their country. The opposition leader promises to implement new rules, especially when it comes to Venezuelan migrants.
The Venezuelans have to prove where were you working for the past 3 years? You have any pay slip, any company that you worked? Because if you were not working somewhere, how are you living? Banditry? You see what Trump is doing? If you don't behave yourself here, go back home. Go back home. Trees first. Safety first.
Well, she said if migrants are given a home, they will need to prove that they are worthy and that they are not working against law-abiding citizens of this country. Prasad-Bisesa was speaking at an opposition town hall in Barataria on Monday.
The party also discussed the criminal justice system. Attorney Jagdeo Singh believes the simplest solution to ensure an almost overnight drop in crime.
Have rooms with the children.
Right. So she planned to deport if you don't behave yourself, as if that is not happening now. Right. This is the same person who indicated that her party would lend support to the Venezuelan migrants. In fact, when they had their meeting in some time ago, a couple of years ago in Cuba, in some car park, I can't remember. You had a large contingent of Venezuelans in UNC GOG. We want Kamala, we want Kamala. They weren't saying they want Keith Rowley. I have never seen any Venezuelans, for that matter, shouting, "We want Rowley," with big signs in PNM jerseys. I've never seen that, right? But coming to talk now, and it is so lame, so unfortunate that you're so intellectually bankrupt, that you don't have unique, original policy, that you have to be getting policy from watching Fox News. Talking about, you see what Trump doing? But you see what Trump doing. So you're talking mass deportation. And again, all of these things are being heard by Nicolas Maduro, right? So she's just doubling down and triple down, and she figured, well, because Donald Trump has won, that there is no hope for the Dragon gas deal, despite the fact that just this week, the Minister of Energy would have indicated that the government continues to talk to Democrats and talk to Republicans in respect of the Dragon gas deal. So they have not written it off. They continue to work hard so that while you have on the opposition side, when you look at Kevin Ramnaraine's page and so on, the things that he chooses to post, all they're looking to do is to sow seeds of doubt in the minds and of the citizens with respect to those developments. How could you have people who are so anti-country? You know we have a decline in natural gas production, right? We depend on the revenue from natural gas. You all are complaining about Forex, and it's because of production fall that we have these foreign exchange problems. And here it is that you have a government working hard to fix that problem, because there is 200 trillion cubic feet of gas just sitting under the waters, sitting in the ocean, just there chilling, waiting for somebody to come and bring it to the shore and monetize it. It is there, just sitting there. The country that owns it does not have the money, the infrastructure, or the wherewithal to monetize it. In fact, the amount of gas that they're flaring on a daily basis is more than what we are producing. So they're literally sending money up in smoke every day. And we are saying, look, we have the connections. We may not have the money, but we have the connections with those who do have the money, with the Shell and the BP and the others. And we are saying to you, we have the infrastructure. We have the expertise. Let us monetize this gas for you and we could share. All right? So you could benefit and we could benefit, because we need the money, you need the money, and it doesn't make sense that you have all of these resources sitting there and we are aware that it is there. It is easy for us to monetize it and nothing happening. So let me talk now. Say, all right, we come to an agreement. Let's go with that. And you have people in this country who want to, not just ordinary citizens, who want to lead, fighting down that. And the alternative that they're giving you, we must offer incentives to the same energy companies for them to come and look for in-border gas and in-border oil. Come and drill in Trinidad and Tobago's waters. When it is that you know where the gas is on Venezuela's side, you know where it is. You have the licenses to be able to do it, right? The infrastructure is already in place, some of it. But no, let us now come to Trinidad and Tobago and bid and hope that we find oil and we find gas. But if we spend hundreds of millions of dollars that we could have been spending to retrieve the gas that we're certain of, we will take that money and come to Trinidad and look and drill. And if we find dry hole, empty hole, no gas, no oil, well, all is not lost, because the government tells us that the income that they're generating from the existing oil wells and the existing gas wells, the monies that they would have gotten from us in royalties and taxes and so on, we could write off that against what we spend to drill in the hope of finding gas, rather than spend it where we know it have gas, right? That is their logic. And the fully dones continue to support that. These people are so unpatriotic, hoping, their fingers crossed, their toes crossed, and everything else crossed, we're hoping for Donald Trump to win, because they know that would put a spoke in the wheel. And the wheel, well, in Trinidad and Tobago's wheel. Because, as I said before, they needed an excuse if they come into power next year as to why they would not be able to proceed with these gas deals on account of the things that they have said about Nicolas Maduro, the vilification of Nicolas Maduro and his administration, right? And so now they get a convenient excuse so that if they come into power next year, they can say, well, the Trump administration said they're not giving us any license extension and so on, so don't blame us, it's not our fault. We were prepared to negotiate and to continue the project, but if the US administration, the US government not giving us the green light, well, there's nothing that we could do. And they're only too happy for that. But if Kamala Harris had won and the government was able to secure a longer term license, and then they come into office and Maduro say, I don't want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it. Roxo. Then what? How do you explain that to the population? That because you wanted to badmouth the man and make all kind of allegations about he in a corrupt cook-up with Jindal and Dr. Rowley and all kind of foolishness like that, because you decided to be irresponsible in 2018 and endorse Juan Guaido, who has now become a figment of everybody's imagination. When was the last time you hear about him? It shows poor leadership. Dr. Rowley chose, I don't know, that I am going to maintain, let me just get this here, right? A neutral stance. Okay, what is going on here? Just now, folks, let me see what's happening here. Right. That's the mark of a true leader. He was able to read the room. And he said the only people we're recognizing is the person who in Miraflores. Whenever Juan Guaido gets there, we will recognize him. But until such time, if Maduro is the man there, that is who we recognize. She said, no, we know about that. We want the world to know that the UNC supports Juan Guaido. And all the while, Maduro taking notes. Yeah, but they're patriotic and they love this country. Right? They love this country. But they can offer you no solutions. So put us back in office. All they're telling you is about what they did back then. What's going on here? What they did between 2010 to 2015. But they're not telling you what they're going to do. How are they going to generate revenue? Because the economy diversification is taking place, but it needs to take place at a much faster pace. We're grateful for what we have. But in the interim, oil and gas. And I keep making the point. Mr. Manning couldn't close the Dragon gas deal. Prasad Bisesa couldn't close the Dragon gas deal. Rowley and Stuart Young did it. 3 administrations. It took this one to do it. Shuttle work between Port of Spain, Washington, Caracas. Right? That whole triangle there. Stuart Young was able to do it. Prior to 2015, we weren't hearing about coquina mannequin. We weren't hearing about coconut and ginger. All we were hearing about is Lauren Manatee and Dragon. They were able to delink. So now we could get some money from Manatee. Right? So that is on the way. But there is a lot of gas, 200 trillion cubic feet of gas are just waiting. And they have no plan whatsoever, none whatsoever, to be able to access that. So what's going to happen? Venezuela continuing to play gas. And the gas, that 200 trillion will just sit down there and wait until things change, maybe in the next 4 years, 5 years, when Donald Trump is no longer there, and hopefully the person who replaces him would be a little more sympathetic to our cause. We don't know yet what is going to happen. Mr. Young continues to do his work. We know Marco Rubio, who is Trump's pick to be Secretary of State, what his position is with respect to Nicolas Maduro and Venezuela. So we can only hope that Mr. Young could once again work his magic. But we'll see where that goes. But just know that the people who telling you they want to rule this country from 2025 to 2030, they have no interest in that. They only about pushing negative news where that is concerned. So that when I see Prasad Bisesa coming to talk about she will deport Venezuelans, if you don't behave yourself, she will deport them. And that is, you would be required to show a pay slip. How are you showing a pay slip? You want pay slip? Well, you need to tell the member of parliament for Cuba North, you're looking for the man to go and backdate pay slip now. Right? You have to go and backdate pay slip for all them young girl and them who it is claimed he was. Well, anyway. Right? Ask Basant, ask Devant, who claimed that they were proposition. Right? So now we have to go and backdate pay slip for them. I just ask him. Hey, come here. How long are you here now? You have a registration card? Let me see it. Where was working for the last 2 years? You have a pay slip? You have a job letter? Tell me the name of the place. You go and get a pay slip. Yeah, that's how it's working. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa ought to know it seems she wants to be a home wrecker. Because if she goes to Central Trinidad, UNC area, she would find that there are a lot of mixed families there. Right? Because for some reason, the men in that area seem to have a liking for Venezuelan flesh. Apparently, it's their kryptonite. So on any given day that you're driving down Southern Main Road and you're approaching the areas of Enterprise and these areas, you're likely to see a pregnant Venezuelan woman standing at the side of the road waiting for a maxi or a taxi or whatever. And in her company is a man of East Indian descent. Right? Quite likely. So she wants to mash up families now. That's what you're about. I just asking Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. Let me but this is just not my observation. Let me just play something here from a comedian that I came across. Let me get this here. Boy, story. Let me get this here. Let me say so.
role.
So the title of this is Next Few Years, when all those East Indian guys make children with the Venis.
Marisol Harinarain,
Mhm.
Jose Posad, Alberto Bisasa.
So in that skit, he's playing a school teacher and he's taking role, right? And he's calling out the names of the students in his class. So I don't know if it is that she wants to be a homewrecker, taking note, but I'm certain these young men who are hearing her say that might be very concerned. All right? So because you weren't working, that means what? That you're a criminal? If you can't prove where you were working, how many of these persons were working under the table before they were registered? And we keep hearing these stories about employers who paying these people small money, next to nothing. And just because they're here and they're desperate, they're taking the work that trainees don't want for far less money than the law would require these employers to pay to a trainee, because they don't have to pay NIS for the Venezuelans and they don't have to pay health surcharge. And then on top of that, they still don't even want to pay them the minimum wage. But it's better than nothing. If you like to go back to the employer and say, well, they tell me how to get a pay slip or how to get a job letter or how to get something, some record showing that I worked for you. Which employer going and do that? Who doing that? But you see, when you like to play smart with foolishness and coming and talking about Trinidad first, just as, again, copying from Trump, talking about America first, and Stephen Miller, who is Trump's, I think is supposed to be the deputy chief of staff or something like that, talking about America for Americans. America for Americans. I went to a breakfast meeting yesterday morning at a restaurant in Central, Cheese Village, called Merengue. It is a Venezuelan restaurant. As soon as you walk in, they have this huge Venezuelan flag. All of the employees are Venezuelans. The owner, Venezuelan. Right? The food is pretty good. All they have on the menu is Venezuelan food. So when I hear people talking about it's suffering, and it have no opportunities, and it have no jobs, Venezuelans coming here, right? Fleeing from the country where they catching the nene and where the currency is worth nothing, coming here and opening business, opening restaurants, right? And making money. Because there were about 10 to 12 of us who were at this breakfast meeting. And the bill was pretty hefty, right? Because so people ordered stuff to eat there and they ordered stuff to carry and so on, because it's not every day that you get to eat at a Venezuelan restaurant. In fact, this was my first time going there. So the bill came up to a lot. So they had a good day yesterday. And they took the opportunity while we were there to take pictures so that they could post it on their Instagram page and the like, right? To promote their business. But when you go on their Instagram page and so on, they've been there for a little bit. And but they're doing things. They're not just sitting by and crying, or as people like to claim, they're going and stand up by every traffic light and beg. Yes, you have those who are doing that. But there are those on the other side that we don't see and we don't hear about, who have come here and opening business, who have come here and worked in the scrap iron yards as laborers and now are in a position to buy these scrap yards. But you have ordinary trainees who live in here their whole life, telling you they can't start a business, but a Venezuelan could come here and start a business. The same Venezuelans that you're looking down on. All right? And eventually it's going to get to the point where the Venezuelans will be hiring the trainees. For now, they're hiring their own. Okay, no problem with that. But if they could do it, why you can't do it? You know why? Because of your mindset. Because you have enablers like Mark, and enablers like Leo, and enablers like Winston Bachelor, who will convince you, yes, you're suffering and Rowley oppressing you, and things hard, and you're suffering. And under this PNM government, you have no opportunities and no betterment. But the Venezuelans come in here, block out the noise. And I can say, well, I won't call you, all you want to say the women is prostitutes and whatever it is. But you know what? They're working hard, pooling their resources. They're taking the menial jobs. As I said before, 5, 10 of them will sleep in one apartment, saving the money, and then they're looking for a space to set up a restaurant. There's another restaurant called Alex Restaurant or something like that. Another Venezuelan one, which is doing very well. They're opening mini marts, groceries. They just come and they could do that. But you, who live in here all your life, only complaining, but it's only pressure, but it's only oppression under Rowley, but Only want to kill me with tax. We still working on 2013 salary. What salary the Venezuelans working on? What salary they working on? So this is just one. And as time progresses, you're going to see more and more Venezuelan businesses opening. But you, because of your mindset and because of enablers who will convince you that you can't do better. The government, I keep saying, is giving money. That $20,000 that they're offering is not available to the Venezuelan community. That is for you as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. As a requirement, you must be a citizen to be able to access that money. You can't do the same thing. You can't spend a little money and go and do a culinary course if you can't cook. Some of you will have skills in the kitchen. Go into waste. You can't do the same thing. They were able to find a spot. When they're going into even the furniture, they have some mismatched chairs, but they will get there. They have one long table with a bench, and then they have a little small table that they add on to extend, to accommodate one or two other persons. But they get in there is a nice little quaint thing, restaurant. So they have, if it is you don't want to dine in, they have a little area outside you could sit down and eat a little something, a little fast food, if it is you want. But that is how you start. That's how you build. Because the next thing, you will see a branch open somewhere in the east, and then you will see a branch open somewhere in Port of Spain, and then a branch open somewhere in south. And while all that is taking place, you have enablers like Winston coming to tell citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, only put pressure on by Rowley, don't like call it by Rowley, don't care. And Rowley. Well, all keep eating on Rowley. Meanwhile, the Venezuelans couldn't care who, if it's Rowley, if it's Kamala, or whoever is prime minister. They come in here and they're doing what they're doing. Whatever skill sets they had back in their country, they come in here and bringing it to bear. So they're not prepared, they're no longer prepared to be exploited by Trinidadians who want to pay them small money to work whole day in the hot sun. Right? And who see, some of us who see the women as being nothing more than sex toys. Because you had women working in the restaurant too, in the kitchen in the back. They cooking. Right? So not everyone that you see a figure, yeah, but she easy, I could get at. No, they're out here doing things. You have Jamaicans coming here, St. Lucians coming here, people from Grenada coming here and opening businesses. They're leaving their homeland and coming here, opening businesses, hiring in some cases trainees. What's all you're complaining? You're suffering and things hard and food prices going up and all of that. And the government is creating opportunities for you and you don't want it. Because you're content to just rock back and blame the system and blame the government and blame the PNM. As if Prasad Bisesa comes back into office and everything will be everything good. Everything good. All of a sudden crime will end and all of a sudden everybody's bank account will just fill up overnight and the food prices will go down and Trinidad and Tobago will become a veritable utopia. And all who believe that foolishness. Nonsense. So there is something very wrong with all of them. Anyway, some of it. Not those of you here, right? Yeah, we have citizens like that who content, because I saw another TikTok video. I'm not even going to play that. I decided I'm not going to play some of these things. I'm not going to play them anymore because it comes out from a place of ignorance and abject stupidity, right? But we can't reach everybody. What's the other thing I wanted to touch on, boy? Just now, let me see if I get this here. Just now. Get this here. Where is it? Did I see that video? Right here. Hold on, let me just get this. Get this here. Because these things aren't always played, right? Where is it? Now, folks are still working on getting that information with respect to the senior citizens grant, right? So don't think that I've forgotten you. I have not. I just waiting for the information. So there was one more thing I wanted to play, if I can find it. Is this it, boy? So it should be here. Right.
So once again, what we've seen here from the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries working on your behalf is a record turnaround. We in Trinidad and Tobago went out with a shallow water bid round. What you've seen here today is the culmination of that hard work. I'd like to congratulate especially the permanent secretaries and the members of staff here at the ministry who turned around the negotiations with BPTT, one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world. Today, we've awarded the production sharing contract after some hard negotiations to BP on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. The energy sector secures our future. The energy sector is what provides the revenue for us to be able to make sure that our hospitals have doctors, nurses, the drugs that we need, the earning of foreign exchange. This is where our foreign exchange comes from. So what we're doing here, what I'm proud to have delivered to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, is a future of foreign exchange. This is what will fund our diversification programs. This is where the government is looking at, for example, tourism in Tobago, going out once again, as you heard in the budget, for new hotels in Tobago. This is where we're going to push and earn the revenue for our maritime industry. So don't buy into that this government isn't focused on diversification. We are very focused on both the preservation and the growth of our energy sector, whilst looking to push many, many projects for diversification. This is your government. This is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago.
This is your government working for you, right? So you heard it there from Minister Young himself. Again, to my mind, one of the hardest working ministers that there is out there. Sometimes I don't think he gets sufficient credit for the work that he does. Just now, let me just see one thing here. Just now. Unless he posted, right. I'm not gonna share that until I get confirmation on that, right? But anyway, let me just, before I open the lines, let me just address one thing here. I know those guys tell me, don't be distracted. It's not a distraction. So Anat McConney is saying yet under this PNM government, exports building immensely. That is why the TTMA is praising the government and soon many more. I just wanted to touch quickly on something that Winston Bachelor says. She's asking me if I am saying that the UNC did nothing between 2010 to 2015. Is that what I am saying? I never said that. But that is what you all say. You know, it amazes me that you could ask me a question like that if I am saying that the UNC did nothing. But every day, people like you, Winston, and those in the camp of the fully dones, keep saying, for 9 years, the PNM do nothing. 9 years, the PNM do nothing. But you are asking me if I am saying that the UNC did nothing. Talk about hypocrisy at its best. You will come here and make the same statement, the government ain't doing nothing in 9 years and Rowley ain't doing nothing in 9 years. When I pointed out to you the fact that, so now let me get this here. When I point out to you, and I've repeated on many occasions the things that the government, you all will look at the 3 brand new ferries and say the government ain't doing nothing. Meanwhile, Kamla Prasad Bisasa bought none. But you will say, in 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing. You had that clown, Professor Misinformation, who went at the same UNC town hall to talk about where the money gone and where the money gone and all that money spent, and we want to know where the money gone. You yourself will go to the Arima hospital and get care and say, but still regurgitating that nonsense. In 9 years, the PNM do nothing and they had nothing to show for it. You will drive around the savannah, you will see the brand new headquarters for the Ministry of Health. You will see Central Block going up, right? You will drive down Tragedy Road and you will see construction taking place on the headquarters for the Ministry of Social Development, which is currently renting from Zaman Enterprises, which is Faris Al-Rawi's in-laws. You're complaining about that, or how much money Faris in-laws getting and Faris family getting. The government is moving away from that and building its own premises. But you all will still come and say, after 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing. And the government, and they had nothing to show for it. The same government campus downtown that for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days under Kamla Prasad Bisasa was empty, right? While they were spending millions of dollars in rent for 1 Alexandra Street, again, Faris Al-Rawi's family's business, property. And for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, that property remained unoccupied. But your taxpayers' dollars went in rent. Your taxpayers' dollars went to pay security to guard an empty building. Your taxpayers' dollars went into trying to outfit that building. Over $100 million spent. And every time it outfit, they decide they're going to put a different ministry there and they need to change the configuration of the space in order to be able to accommodate that ministry. All that money went down the drain. You all never talk about how much other things it could have been spent on, right? But you will come here and talk about it after 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing, and the PNM ain't do nothing. You all are shameless liars and hypocrites. 66 new courtrooms built in the waterfront, where the parliament was while Kamala Persad-Bissessar was prime minister. Today it is the Waterfront Judicial Center. 66 new courtrooms. They've hired over 36 new judges, right? So the judges' complement has increased significantly. In fact, it has doubled what it was under Persad-Bissessar. But you all will come and talk nonsense for 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing, and the government ain't do nothing. Here it is that you have the government rolling out program after program after program for young people between the ages of 18 to 35. Opportunities that they did not have between 2010 to 2015. And we keep stressing, the only thing that Kamala Persad-Bissessar offered the youth between 2010 to 2015 was live sport, and we know how that went. Color Me Orange, Hoop of Life, we know how that went too. Millions of dollars spent, and again, the main persons who were supposed to benefited the least. Everybody else eat a food, drink a juice, right? Go and see it. But Gary Griffith, as Minister of National Security, had to intervene to make sure that it was above board and that you didn't have theft and graft taking place in these programs because there was evidence to support that. But here it is that today you have swimming pool in Morva, swimming pool in Lavantil, swimming pool in Malabar, swimming pool in Maloney, library in La Hoqueta, Talparo, right? And another swimming pool to be built in La Hoqueta, Talparo as well. But you will still come here and repeat that nonsense every opportunity you get. After 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing, and the government ain't doing nothing, and what we have to show for the money, and where the money gone. You all are shameless. But you want to ask me if I am saying that Kamala Persad-Bissessar did nothing? They did precious little. Precious little. If I would ask you, what did they do? Right? The Curep interchange, who built that? But Rowley ain't do nothing. The Diego Martin interchange, who built that? But you come in to tell me Rowley ain't do nothing. The E-Tech Park in Point Lisa's there, right? Where I think you have now Samsonite luggage is being made, manufactured in Trinidad. So whereas before, when you buy a piece of Samsonite luggage, which is one of the most reliable luggage brands in the world, you would see made somewhere else. Now you'll be able to see made in Trinidad and Tobago. Who did that? Who facilitated that? But you all don't ever give the government credit, but will come here and sing the same nonsense. 9 years and Rowley ain't do nothing. And 9 years and the PNM ain't do nothing. And we're going on 10 years and it had nothing to show for it. The Shade House program, the Shade House project down in Chaguaramas. Who did that? Who did that? These things that you all don't want to acknowledge and recognize. How much money this government is saving in rent that was being paid to these people over the years. Buildings and products. Who did that? Asking you. No, you don't want to talk about that. Oh, this government, they do nothing and they do nothing. Well, why you tell me what Kamala Persad-Bissessar did? You tell me. And all those things that I mentioned there and more, deny it now. Since the government didn't do nothing, all those things were ordered of themselves. The government had no involvement in that whatsoever. And you all have nothing about all it to come and I always say that party have no shame. All the dogs in the UNC suffering from malnutrition because it have no shame for them to eat. That's what you all offering. Shameless to come and talk that nonsense here. You tell me what Kamala Persad-Bissessar did. Tell me what she did. Other than all they like to talk about, she gave laptops, she gave baby grant because she was concerned about the poor, and every day you're regurgitating unemployment was lower under Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Yet still you can't provide me with evidence of that. You want to come and tell me, because I don't understand how it is. You want to tell me unemployment because you focusing on what? Government only, right? But yet still the private sector is booming. Go anywhere around the country and you will see new malls opening up all over the place. 2010 to 2015, we didn't have Eastgate Mall. 2010 to 2015, you didn't have M6 Plaza on the National Ramaya Road. All of these different things. You have Extra Foods Plaza, you have Pennywise Plaza, all of these things on that stretch there, you know. Who working in these stores and these malls? Robots. Who working there? All of these things that you all don't like to talk about. When you look, the fact of the matter is, as to Haka Obika would have indicated when I played a couple of days ago, that the non-energy sector is what is carrying the economy right now. The non-energy sector. When we see in the banks and the financial institutions and almost every company recording increased revenues, increased profits, they are now expanding their businesses beyond Trinidad and Tobago. How has that come about? Nah, but the government are doing nothing. For 9 years, Rowley ain't do nothing. Rowley just sit on his hands and collecting pay, drawing pay under false pretense. Right? All the Magnificent Seven, well, 5 of the Magnificent Seven buildings that have been renovated. And a couple of them now today making money, earning income. Right? Yesterday, the National Trust had its annual general meeting. And the membership was so happy to hear the amount of money that Milflo is generating in rental income. Because everybody want to have a party and a wedding and some function, and who want to come and do their advertisements using Milflo as their backdrop. And they're paying their money, hundreds of thousands of dollars being generated. I'm going to give you the exact figures. If you want to know, you need to become a member of the National Trust and you'll have access to the financials. Or you could go on the website and see it. But look at that. Between 2010 to 2015, Milflo was boarded up. Milflo wasn't making any money. Not one dime. Today, it's earning money to earn its keep. Nelson Island, you should go down there one of these days and see what was Nelson Island between 2010 to 2015. Go and see what is there now. See the significant work that is being undertaken by the National Trust and by extension the 5 islands. Right? Familiarize yourself with the plans that are in place to make a contribution to tourism. Instead of only yapping, go down there and take a look and see all of these buildings. The president's house that was in ruins between 2010 to 2015, and I saw an embarrassment. In no other country would you go and see the official residence of the president looking like that. For 5 years, they just had a canopy over it. Right? And allow the place to continue to fall in ruin. As soon as this administration came in, they made it a priority to fix that. Today, the president is living in the official residence, not in a cottage behind the official residence, in the official residence itself. So that when it is that you have to receive foreign guests and diplomats coming, you know how embarrassing that was? For 5 years, you've seen ambassadors and so on who accredited to this country. When you drive in, you had to pass by this whole pile of rubble. How embarrassing to get to the president's office that you weren't able to receive these people sometimes at the official residence. If it is you have to accept credentials, you used to have to go to Knowsley building around the savannah there, which I think is where the National Operations Center or something is there. Right? You couldn't do it at the president's residence. Today, you could do that. Today, when tourists come, they could go in the president's gardens and take pictures. There's something worthy for them to take pictures of. But these things you all wouldn't talk about. Rowley ain't do nothing for 9 years. Where the money gone? So when that clown, that consummate dunce want to go to Kamala meeting, where the money gone? And where the money gone? Miss me with that nonsense. But I've been distracted enough. 7701763. Right? Wrong with all this. Oh boy. The fact that you all get up so early in the morning to come and listen to me, if what I say is lie, why you all here? You could have been on the ground report, the underground report. Why are you listening to them? You know why? I'll tell you. You know why, and I know why you're listening to them.
I don't know who.
So let me get this here. Give me 1 second to color. Let me get this. Let me just make this change here. Hello, good morning. Morning, sir.
Very good. There's a couple of things I want to share with you this morning.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I am very happy that you cited what I said about the UB situation when you spoke a little earlier.
Yes.
You see, I am saying this. You are entitled to your political opinions, right? We all are. But you see, because of the sensitive nature of your position as a lecturer in political science, this ain't chemist, chem and bio and them kind of thing, this ain't not science. But you are a lecturer in political science. Trinidad is a small place. And at the very least, you should try to at least give the impression, you're entitled to your political views, but because of the kind of discipline that you are involved in, you have to be a little circumspect in expressing your views or giving even the mildest suggestion of preference. That's all I'm saying. And at the very worst, you should give an impression, try to give an impression of neutrality. You know who you support. You're entitled to that. But you see, in your classrooms, you have children of different backgrounds, different religions, different political persuasions. And because of that, you have to have a level of balance and sensitivity in how you conduct your business, right? Look, for argument's sake, let us say Darian Marcel has a son or daughter who is pursuing political science and ends up in Asum. Trinidad is a small place. The students in the class, hey, that Darian son boy, that Darian daughter boy, and it would reach the ear of the lecturer. And the lecturer would know that this is the child of a PNM activist, a public PNM activist in my classroom. So what befalls Darian's son or daughter? What happens there? When in your articles in the newspaper, from time to time, you are high in praise of Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and highly critical of Dr. Rowley's government, Dr. Rowley and his administration. So what is happening here? I'll just give a hypothetical case of Darian's child. I mean, what? The difference is, you see, the difference here is that while I'm a retired person, I have no control over people's lives again. People could do what they want. But on the other hand, you hold dominion over people's futures, over people's children's fate and their futures. And by the stroke of a pen, you could decide based on political opinion, you could decide whether a child gets first class, upper two, lower two, or bare pass. Based, guess what? Purely on political opinion. I do agree that Dr. Rowley has done very much for this country. But the child writes a paper and gives cogent, compelling evidence to support his or her position. And that's Darian's child, But you don't agree, you are not looking at the quality of preparation and presentation of the material, looking for objective analysis. You are going to mark an opinion. I do agree with you. Rowley's a waste of time. You go get a C minus. Right? That is what happened. On the other hand, the child who talks about all the wonderful things of Bissessar, that child getting a B plus, a worst case scenario B plus, B plus, A plus, and so on and so on. Upper two, first class. That is the critical point that I am making here. You are lecturing political science. What is going on here? If I have son or daughter in your class, you're dead before you start. Because I call not talk on the radio, I call speak to you, so and people know my name. So what happened? What is the situation here? And in closing, let me say this about Bissessar. Not just her irresponsibility, but she lies through her damn teeth. She knows who find themselves on Queen Anne Beach, on the Carcass Beach, on Cedros Beach, who waiting there hours before the Venezuelans land. Hours before they land, they have foreknowledge of who is coming, what time they're supposed to reach here. They know all of that. So when you're talking choppiness, but you go send them back and who involved in criminal, have you ever examined the backgrounds of these people, Madam Bissessa? Yes, some of them doing good work and so on, but have you ever examined the backgrounds of these people? Just check, Mr. Roman, when you finish, just check a place called Petare. Petare. It is a slum in Venezuela. And you see that it's just on the outskirts of Caracas. And most of them come here. But they come with baggage, you know. They come with baggage. And in any case, Madam Bissessa, who are the people who probably walk in the streets with these bimbos at their side and little papooses, little babies strapped to the chest? Who? I'm probably walking with my white Venezuelan mama, who like them more than anything. And in closing, let me just say this. Since you have attacked recklessly, you don't care about the diplomatic implications of what you have said. We have to deal with Maduro. We now have to deal with Donald Trump. Madman. We now have to deal with Donald Trump. You give a damn about how Trinidad may fare in this kind of scenario, with this dotishness that you talk about? This is what you are saying to people of Trinidad and Tobago? And in any case, you don't want the money now, and you're giving people the impression you don't want it, but you damn well want it. You want the 900 and something thousand. Don't try to teach people head. Your MPs want the 200,000 and 300,000 back pay too. Don't feel they don't want it, but you feel you're smart. You feel you're smart. Because, listen, nobody must get the increase, but the judges must get the increase. The judges, along with the president of this country, are the only entities who don't pay tax. These are the only people who don't pay tax. And there's a reason why she's favoring the judges. She's sucking up to the judiciary because they have major cases inside there which they want addressed with bias in their favor. So it's not by accident she's calling out the judges as people who she loves so much and who she's going to support. There's a sting in the tail, as George Chambers used to say, and that is the sting in the tail. She's trying to suck up to the judges and woo them, to favor them when it comes to judicial decisions handed down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, we must not forget that the matter is about to begin in respect of them having to pay the PNM costs for that ridiculous matter that they brought with respect to the 2015 election. So don't forget, you see, I beg for it to get period. So, Jenny. Good morning, Jen.
I'm using a device, so I'm sure it will hold up. More looking to access the one thing. With regards to the union, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, that my issue is not workers marching for the rights or what they think is the right with regards to the pay and that kind of thing. That's not the issue. My issue again always comes down to that small group with the executive of the union who continue to fool the members by not telling them the truth. A classic example is the person who's leading that union march. She made the whole country feel who didn't know that the Minister of Finance could intervene into their negotiations. And I'll tell you why the Minister is taking the right approach. While the public officers we are mentioned in the Industrial Relations Act, they are mentioned in the Civil Service Act, and the Minister of Finance is also mentioned there in terms of being able to tell the CPO to initiate commence negotiations or could put that offer on the table to the CPO to bring to the union. And in the Industrial Act, the Minister of Finance is also featured there. With members of workers are not classed as part of that group of workers that are mentioned in the Industrial Relations Act and Civil Service Act, where the Minister of Finance has that type of autonomy because he is the employer and because the CPO is a public officer. We are public officer. The CPO is the one who will intercede, not the minister. Then he cannot intercede himself into that negotiation because I will tell you what, suppose he does, and it does not go the right way, they're going to take it to court and use the same areas in the Industrial Relations Act that he quoted against him. And then everybody will know he has no right to get it. That's correct.
Jenny. Hello? Jenny? All right, I guess that new device has not held up. Try me again, Jen. Hello?
Hello, morning.
Morning, sir. Yes, Brian, go ahead.
Hold on, Dominic.
Yes, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, morning, Dominic.
Morning.
Dominic.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing how Trinbagonians are easily fooled. Many of us. And I have to say many, not some, many of us. And a member of parliament in the opposition is working for $17,000 a month. So if they accept the increase, their salaries will go up to $22,000 a month. Now, you have people sitting down in the opposition bench who are millionaires and billionaires. Some of them overnight. You want to tell me that they are happy with $17,000 a month in 2024? When you want to live in big houses, when some of the houses that were built, that were completed at that time between 2010 and 2015, are lavish houses with media room and so on, all fully air conditioned, driving most expensive vehicles. One gentleman is driving a white Mercedes-Benz SUV.
You saw it?
That.
You saw it?
Huh?
You saw it?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have to maintain that, how much money you feel it's going to cost him to maintain that white Mercedes-Benz SUV? They're at $17,000 a month.
Before tax.
Before tax.
Yes.
Who trying to fool who? Kamala Prasad Bissessa's vehicle that she bought after she lost the election in 2015 is a what? A Mercedes-Benz SUV. How much for a Mercedes-Benz SUV? I ain't talking about today, but I'm talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about 5 years ago. I listened to Farley talking about he want no increase in pay. I wonder if he remembers all the other secretaries and assistant secretaries saying the same thing too. But all of them driving SUVs. Nobody is driving no any wagon. Nobody is driving no
Wetman.
No Wetman vehicle. Everybody up in the sky driving SUV. SUV, and you have to maintain it. You have to spend money. When you go in by the mechanic and you see what you bring into it, by the way, give my oil, check my filter, check my oil, check this, check. How much money you really going to charge you to change all them things and to maintain your SUV at $17,000 a month before tax? And you want to get an increase in pay. I don't know anybody working anywhere who's going to get an increase in pay after whether it's negotiations with a union or whatever. I'm not anxious to look forward to the back pay, especially, or the increase in salary. I don't know anybody, and I challenge anybody to tell me if your pension or your salary going to go up next year, that you won't be looking forward to it. You go say, nah, I don't want that, man. You keep that because there are poor people out there. I challenge anybody. But Kamala Prasad be set up, trying to fool the people by saying that she don't have to want it, you know. You know why? Because her money is very, very good with over $100,000 a month for doing absolutely nothing. When she was prime minister in her late 50s, early 60s, she taking 5-day weekends. So she didn't have nothing to worry about. She wasn't working. But you know what she was doing? She was in a helicopter to and from San Fernando and Port of Spain. And who was paying for that? You and I, taxpayers. When she was traveling abroad, she took her son to Brazil to watch the World Cup. Who paid for that? You think the members of the opposition bench don't want to experience that too? You think the clothes that they had to purchase to come there every week, whenever they have to come to the parliament, don't cost money? You don't think they have to feed themselves and their families? You don't think they have to live just like you and I? You don't think they have to buy groceries? But they don't eat. And they want to tell us that them don't want no increase in salary. The salary review commission, who just simply doing their job without fear or favor, malice or ill will. You telling me that you don't want that because what? At this point in time, it's too much. Well, when you tell us when you want it, tell us if it is that sometime in the next 5 years, that we won't have people who are poor and indigent and need assistance, and there will be no social welfare ministry, and we won't have all of these things to deal with. Tell us when you think you want it. Tell us. But you see, it's good to play that every single day on the news prime time, because I only hear on the news what Kamala Prasad says to say. What Kamala Prasad says to say. Apparently, that is the mantra because they are so anti-PNM. As if Dr. Rowley said he wanted. Dr. Rowley never said that. But they will go ahead and tell you real. But you know why? Because you see, when you're in office, you don't have to pay for these things, Dominic. I want to give out a contract and you get a kickback that's worth 10 times the salary you get in. You don't need to worry about. So they're hoping against hope to get into office. So at the end of the day, it won't matter what salary they get. All they will need to do is give out a contract or two, and that's the end of that. Because as we all know, many of the contracts were well oversubscribed by hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a nice, lovely kickback for everybody. You understand? And they're dealing in millions of dollars. But for $17,000 with a little $5,000 increase, and they say they don't want. And that's the poultry, chicken feed, crumbs money. They're hoping against something for 2025 election. And if you go and say, yes, all you're right, we're going to put all you in power because Rowley and them too greedy. But people not looking at the bigger picture. When they in power, like them, when they were there, they put teeth. And Kamala and the member for Maloney indicated same when she said, but when you're in power, the teeth, you know, like they did. So it's no big thing, but they won't complain about the $17,000 a month they get in, and Fali won't complain because when Fali travels, he don't travel on his own salary. Does he? Or he travels on the money that you send in across Tobago for the people of Tobago and for the well-being of the people of Tobago. That's up to now. Fali can give us one report as to exactly what is the gains of all this travel he has been doing over the last 3 years. Can't give one report. You can't see one benefit. people will sit here and listen to that diatribe and that stupidness and suck it up. People always call you every morning like Winston and Mark and all of them. And they know better. They know because they're living here. And they have to exist too. And they know once they leave home to go down the road, it's going to cost money. They see how much money the banks making. Why is the banks are making all this money? It's because of what? It's because we have to go to the banks to ask for money to do things. We have to go for the credit card. We have to go to ensure that whatever we do for our families, that even if we don't have it, if we don't have the money, if our salaries are not enough, we have to go to borrow. When you go into the banks, you look at the loans department section, you see people saying, no, they're waiting to do. That's a glass of water, please. But the government sees that the bottom line knows because they're waiting to borrow money on the bank because whatever it is they're getting is not enough. And you telling me people who in our parliament, well dressed in jacket and tie, had to go and make orange suit just the other day, some of them. You think that thing costs money too? You think the Ilson Princess Song didn't know he was paying him an expense? But he didn't care? Because he money nice, he had the mother money tall. So there's no business. You understand? Because they get contracts and oversubscribe for them. So they're no business. Look at all this salary. Someone gets into office. So they put teeth more. And the salary will make no difference whatsoever because the amount of kickbacks and contracts that will be given up will be enough to suffice as far as their livelihood is concerned. And you don't build 2x4 shack and go and live in it. It's like those expensive houses and those air-conditioned vehicles and those air-conditioned houses. You ever see them in the grocery? I have never seen any member of parliament pushing a cart in the grocery. Never. So how they live in, how they existing? Trying to fool the people. Let me tell you something. I live in the South. I remember when a certain set of people were trying to come by these little fishing boats to Trinidad, and the Coast Guard was after them, and they jump out in the water down in Deep South. They come up outside the settlers' constituency and run ashore. The gentleman was there waiting with clothing and food for them, and a place for them to stay until the maxi came to pick them up to carry them to wherever. They come up beside me, so didn't know that. What he said then? When the Coast Guard had to fire on a vessel that was carrying, was running, trying to attempt to elude the Coast Guard police in the seas, and the man had gentleman because to save his own life, because they were coming to ram him, he had to shoot. What did Kamala Prasad say about the Coast Guard person? That he's a murderer. That's what he called him, a murderer. Less than 24 hours. Because he was only trying to do what? Save the lives of himself and his colleagues before they were rammed by this fishing vessel. We have people working in stores, Dominic, in South. You think they're getting a payslip? So when they go and ask a question, how much it is? They can't speak to you because they don't know any English. It's been a long time, Dominic. It's not now. That was Kamala Prasad says so all the time. But you see, Kamala Prasad says so is trying to put a wedge between us, our relationship with Venezuela, and the Venezuelans for her own ambitions. And that is bad for us, Trinidad and Tobago. Because the Venezuelans, in right in Marabella here, right in Marabella is a place where the guys and they sell food. Every single night, as night falls, Dominic, there are people lining up to purchase food from them. And they get the container car closed. You know, I'm telling you, and it's a lot of the youth buying it. A lot of youth, a lot of the people down here, especially on a weekend, purchasing the food. The gentlemen have to barely talk English, but they understand chicken, they understand potato, they understand what the anything about that. Then there was a woman called Angie Ramnarine, who a year ago was Express Woman of the Year. And why? Because she takes care of the young Venezuelans, Dominic. And she was given an award by the Express Woman of the Year for her work in taking care of the Venezuelans. What's taking care of the young African children? Who get that award for taking care of the young African children? But Angie Ramnarine have no problem assisting those little Venezuelan youth. Why? I don't know why. Because they look like who? And these are some of the things you have to be wary of with this woman they call Kamala Persad-Bissessar. But she lies through her teeth. And she don't care. She not going to do, if she gets into office, she will do absolutely nothing as far as the Venezuelans are concerned. When the peace of Muhammad and you see that the diet was saying, when the vote for the 12 overturned, they were saying it was in Trinidad and Tobago water, remember that? What happened in the Venezuelan water? And they wanted the people of Trinidad and Tobago to pay for that. Because they were so concerned that these 12 people died in Trinidad and Tobago waters, trying to escape from Venezuela to come here. I want to blame the Trinidad and Tobago authority. I said they're living in ghastly conditions and so on. Two little children, you can be recalled yesterday, they got over $1 million each. Because of the conditions that they were staying in. What about the conditions of our children? Our people in Trinidad and Tobago, who are living in abstract conditions. What about them? Anybody fighting for them? Any attorney like Christian Williams and so on, one of these people who would give their life for these Venezuelans, fighting for these Trinbagonians, but Kamala Persad-Bissessar about Trinity's post. Kamala Persad-Bissessar is bereft of so many ideas. She has no idea. She just sits down and listens to Fox and Donald Trump, and she gets an aha moment to come and talk about what she will do with the Venezuelans. Why? You can't do, she cannot do that. Especially those who have been authorized to work in Trinidad, because she will carry them to court. They will carry them to court, and when they carry them to court, they will win in the court. So Kamala Persad-Bissessar knows better. And those who are here working in all of the bars, you think they're getting a payslip? Huh? You think they're going at the end of the day, it's a payslip they're getting? I can tell you the places where all of them, in 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom, 13, 14, 15 of them at the same time. And they're paying the rent easy. All this going on up now, Dominic, years, real years. I go to Kamala Persad-Bissessar talking stupidness today, trying to fool the people. I just choose when I know that. Because I know it was out of the book of Donald Trump, because she has no, and she plays or writes whatever she wants to write, and she copies from the Republicans, Donald Trump. That's what she does. But that is how she exists. Because she has no idea how to run a country, and she has no idea what to do except to copy, paste, and lie. And that is what we have to face. And we have to be mindful of her. All that comes out of our mouth is lies. Dominic, have a good.
Thank you, sir. There are certain people on the chat who would disagree with you. See, hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dom.
Morning.
I call you again and we forget. Anyhow, I pray for second part of the God, we are above ground. I come against every negative word, oh Lord God, spoken against this land, spoken against the Prime Minister, oh Lord Jesus. Father God, I cancel them. And every curse on assignment that has been sent to him and his government, Father God, I break it to naught. In the name of Jesus Christ, Lord, I bless them. Lord, I bless this land. You have given me to live in, Father God. I speak well over Mrs. Stewart Young and every member of Parliament, Mrs. Beck Hurst, and Mr. Ian, oh Lord God. God, I pray kingdom will come and your will be done in TNC's name. Amen. amazing what people in this country, Dominic. The heat. It's not just global warming, Heat makes the country hot. Heat has venom. Some snakes have no cure. Heat has no cure. What more can the PNM government do? Only 14%, they give it to you, right? Or more than that. What about the children's land? They pay the IMF forever. Is that what you want? I mean, we had good, bad times are here, but it's not here to stay. You keep saying the country hard and bad. Your prophet sighing, stop, bless, cursing my land. I mean, every time you go forward, you speak. Death and life is in the power of your tongue. And they are the ones who speak it ill will pick it up in their own household, because God said, let there be, and there was. The atmosphere, your sheets, your bed, your towels, your ground, your walls will pick up what you say. Bless your land. You can't be so hateful. If you're so bad, go Haiti. Go Venezuela. I know a girl across there. She gets paid $20 US a month. Has not been paid since March. Right? March. She didn't pay it. We had it for Christmas. You have 3 jobs just to pay her rent. A doctor. That's my friend in Venezuela. You have 20 US a month to work for, and you don't get paid. And Tamla, what the heck wrong with you? You, the Ramdi, for the Venezuelan lady, and she won judgment. You went against the Coast Guard because they killed an innocent child. And here you are again, Kamala. I'm telling you, you're confused. You're confused. I don't know if you're wholesale mad or you're possessed. I'm going to tell you, go your way. Because I'm a person who will pray out this country. What I say that I have no fear. And please call me. It's important.
All right.
So I think have a pretty God bless you all. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Romain.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the listeners and the callers and viewers of another segment of Facts and Stubborn Things. Let me take this opportunity to wish all who celebrate Thanksgiving a blessed Thanksgiving. To all those, hope that you enjoy the day and be thankful of what you have and be grateful of what you have as well. Dominic, your point was a valid point with Kamala, the hospital that she claimed that she would have built under her tenure in the last 5 years, 3 months and 14 days, right? Well, the one that she placed in her heartland in central Trinidad, that people deem as the mecca of all medical institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Just for me a few minutes, let me just read something here that people tend to forget, right? And you know that some people just want to politicize everything in the country now, right? So this is stating that the Cuba Hospital on an earthquake zone, seismologists warned Prime Minister of the Cuba site. Construction of Prime Minister's Kamala Persaud price $1.5 billion Cuba Children's Hospital is in jeopardy as seismic and structural experts have called for all works to be aborted. This is because the hospital and multi-training facility is being built near the Central Range earthquake fault line, which experts say is in danger of being hit by a major 7.5 or higher above magnitude earthquake. seismologist Dr. Joe Lushman of the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center, speaking with TNT Guardian in a telephone interview on Wednesday, confirmed that the present location of the hospital is close proximity to the fault line and suggested the construction to be halted. Lushman said a new location should be sought to avoid any untoward incidents in future. It will be a wise decision to put the construction on hold and examine the made hospital location. Lushman said construction of the building near fault line is something to be of concern. About this is increasingly serious when it involves essential facilities such as the hospital. It is a very serious situation. Now, Dominic, even though that these people knew, and the seismologists told the building experts, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Housing, and all these energy and you know what I mean, right? So about that building of the hospital in Cuba, knowingly that where building is an earthquake fault line, right? So when they come to talk and say, oh, you build 5 hospitals and you build things, why didn't come out and say what the seismologists would have indicated in Cuba? But no, you know why she would have built that there? She would have given her people the perception that she built something in their heartland that have been neglected over the years. Is that what it goes to show, you know, Dominic? She built something and she don't care where it built. Once it's in this central heartland, the USA heartland, they may busy about if it's in a fault line, they may busy about nothing about that. Man, let me forget about what the seismologists say. Let me build the hospital to appease our people and people who look like me and like you. You understand? All right, before I go, let me just give people a little synopsis of what I did geography school, so I have that kind of versed in geography, right? So this is for the UNC and the sycophants within the UNC, right? The earthquake fault line or main fault line that runs through Trinidad's region are the CRF, that is the Central Range Fault, and the EPF, the El Pilar Fault. These faults are located in the boundary between the Caribbean and the South American plate, which bisects the island of Trinidad. And for the UNC done, the meaning of bisect is half, right? Folded in half, in case you didn't know, right? Like that, that's the likes of Basilo and the UNC shows on YouTube, right? The Central Range Fault is a major strike strip fault that runs through Trinidad. So Dominic, where they build hospital, they build it on the Central Range Fault line. So if an earthquake of 8.0 and above ought to strike Trinidad, $1.5 billion of taxpayers' money will go up in smoke. I continue. The Gulf of Paria Pull-Apart Basin is a basin that connects the CRF and the EPF fault line. Trinidad is located in a complex tectonic area where the Caribbean plate moves east relative to the South American plate, which the twin island experiences all 3 major types of fault line movement: strike strip, reverse, and normal, where the largest possible earthquake near TNT can be estimated to strike at a magnitude of 8.0. It is also noted that the El Pilar fault line runs south of the northern range across Trinidad into the northwestern area of Venezuela. So when people experience earthquakes in Diego Martin and in Port of Spain and these places, this is the example. So Dominic, before I go, you see when people want to come and talk and say, oh, Kamala bill, come out and tell the people what the seismologist would have told you, right? But you see, they use politics in everything. So they don't care because $1.5 billion is not their own, it's taxpayers' money. So they business. That's why I say the UNC in this country is not good to run back for office again in this country. My suggestion, 2025 is on the horizon, people. While just ready, they're going to be building things in their areas that prone for disasters. Look at the highway. Over the cost, over $7 billion. And what they're running through there, you will see Catlan down in South Trinidad, which all through the wetlands, where Kubla Singh had to protest and go on hunger strike and all kind of things. So preserve the wetlands in South Trinidad. They don't care about Trinidad and Tobago. All they care about is financing themselves, thieving the money, and enriching their friends and families who look like them. And we have to put a stop to that. Right? With that being said and done, the assignment is 2025. People, let's stay focused. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's dissect the information out to the people. Like the videos, share the live, share the information to your family, your friends, everybody, and let's get on board. Right? So, guys, blessed morning. Dominic, good program as usual. Dr. Anderson.
Thank you, sir. Hello, good morning.
Dominic,
Oh, Lord. Leave it there.
what's going on?
All is well.
Look here, boy.
Uh-huh.
Eric is a earthquake expert now.
Leave it there. Make your point, please.
I never tell my sister good morning now. God, sis, good morning. Dominic,
Uh-huh.
did I hear you say that the government is talking to the Democrats and Republicans?
You did hear me say that, yes? I could read it for you too.
You remember a certain minister said, what Trump could do, we? Remember I call no, you see I call no names, eh?
Uh-huh.
What Trump could do, we? Dominic, remember that. I will leave it there.
All right. Mhm. Hello, good morning. Mr. Chance.
Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I am good.
Yes, good. Nice again. Nice programming. I just want to underscore two points. I know that you're running close to your time to leave. I just want to underscore 2 points and then make a point about how the government is helping us to come out of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
I underscore the point that you spoke about with respect to the non-energy sector.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'm underscoring that is that I want to make the point again. That despite what the UNC and Kamala, the professor, is saying, all the promises she's making, all the fora that she's having all over the place, she has not told us where she expects to get the money, the revenue to run the country, to do the things that she's doing. And people, we've got to understand that. Because when a country cannot pay its bills, it knocks on the door all the IMF. And there are conditionalities for all of us. Wherever you are, loss of jobs, loss of all the subsidies, loss of all the grants that you get in. And those are important questions that we have to ask the people who are asking us to support the UNC. Where is the money going to come from? And I make that distinction because Dominic spoke about what this government is doing in the non-energy sector and what this government is doing in the energy sector. That is where the money is going to come from to pay the bills. But Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and her cohorts and all the other forces are not telling us that at all. And that is an important thing. When you come to somebody and they say, one is where the money is going to come from, because we need money to run the country. And as I said, if we do not, we have to knock on that door. And the man there tells us that we have some conditionalities that many of the countries of the world have to face when they knock that door. So those are things you have to understand, besides all the politics and all the old talk. All right? And I want to underscore the point Dominic made about with respect to the revenue coming from the energy sector. Now, the UNC are telling us, boo, boo, oh, look, I got the gas again. But I ask the question, when we get the gas, who's going to benefit from it? You think it's going, the money going in Dr. Raleigh pocket? It's going into your parents' pocket, your children, your young people pocket, because they're gonna get money to run the country. So whenever I hear them say, no, the gas, David Lee say, the gas man can't dance, he's fooling you. Because he's giving you the impression that the money that is supposed to come from the Loran and the fields in Venezuela going in Dr. Raleigh and the PNM pocket. But my people, I'm saying to you, talk that to keep the people around. The money is going into helping the run the country. And if we don't have that money, we have to knock on that door. So do not allow them to fool you and say, look, that's what they're coming with. And jam them when they come with that. That money that we're going to get is going to go into helping you get a standard of living that you're accustomed to, and even better, because you'll be more money. So when Dominic spoke about the fact that we have gas fields in Trinidad, besides those that we're seeking to get to improve our standard of living greater, we have gas fields in Trinidad. I want to remind you about those gas fields that Mr. Young spoke about. The Mento gas field. It has 1 trillion cubic feet of gas. We don't have to get permission from anybody to do that. They have the SIP gas field. You don't have to get permission. And all these things are being pursued. The Mento, the SIP, the coconut, the ginger, all those are gas fields in our borders. And this is what Minister Young is trying to point out, that we are not only dependent on what is happening in Venezuela, we have to have arrangements for gas fields within our country to get the money to run the country, because this is my emphasis. So I just thought I will make that point. Let me close off again by now pointing out, as I said, my usual rhetoric is to deal with how the government is helping the poor to come out of poverty. Today I just want to deal with the Ministry of Education, and I want to deal with bursaries. And I want to assure you that since the bursaries were introduced, the UNC fighting that every day. They're going to, as soon as they get in the power, they're going to move the bursaries. Let me tell you why. Normally we get 500 national scholarships, 500 in the country all the time, right? This government, in its wisdom, is approach to help people in need. Let me say it again, to help bright children in need whose parents don't have the money to send them to university and things like that. They decided to introduce bursaries. And you've got to be bright. But one of the things in getting the difference between a bursary and a national scholarship, the bursary is to have a means test. So your family cannot go beyond a certain threshold in terms of income. So I've got children, and then rich people children can't get bursaries. Let me tell you again, because there's a means test. You know what this government did? This government introduced 500 bursaries. Rather than this 500 national scholarship where Sabda children and everybody children could get because they're rich, so they can afford. But the government said, no. We have limited resources. We're going to direct it to prioritize those children who are in need. 500 bursaries and 100 national scholarships. Why? Who's going to benefit from that? Well, let me tell you what happened there. Let me give you the data on that happened. That are a means test. And you know, in 2020, we got 268 bursaries for people children. They're bright, and they get in university education. In 2021, 355 bursaries for people children, bright, and they get in tax-based assistance. 2022, 300 bursaries. 2023, 288 bursaries, and this year, 277 bursaries. You know those children are? Poor people children are bright. Bursaries. And I tell you, every day you hear the UNC say they want to go back to the national scholarships. But they want to clap all those children. Clap this. Yeah? Rich people children who get in national scholarships. To forget that. Let me close off with this by telling you what's happening in sport. You know I love my sport to tell you. You know this government paying the TTFA
$9 million, $3 million a year. You know what that money is for? To help to pay the professional players. So how do you think I'm coming out of poverty? We have people playing in football in Trinidad and Tobago, you know. We have a competition in Trinidad and Tobago, and these are professional footballers. They getting paid, you know. How do you think they're getting somebody money? It's your government. All those you hear, Chabnute playing this one, you hear this one, all the football you hear at the national level. Those players are getting paid, you know. How do you think they're getting paid? It's your government putting some of the money, $3 million a year to help them to get paid to pay. No, so that is their life. That is why they put food on their table. And the government is contributing to that. I thought I would just share these two things, and I will continue to talk about how this government is helping the ordinary people to come out of poverty and move on to a better standard. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Probably take another one quick. Let me see here. Let me jump across here. Donna Seeley says, Mr. Chancellor, UNCs are set at deaf and dumb people and they cannot understand. Leno Samuel says, seems that people like Leave It There want to see this nation in which they live come like Haiti. Imagine that. Hello.
Yes, Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
I had to jump back in because I wasn't calling back. Let me respond to the video. The video, I'm going to tell you something with me. Unlike you, I went to school and get education, right? I did geography. I have a 2 in geography, sir. Right? So I do research. Leave it there. I am not no earthquake expert. Right? So in case you didn't know, unlike you, who want to continuously come and talk about that foolishness on the radio for a big, old, dirty man. Right? I went to school and get education. So that is why I could have come and speak about the earthquake and the geography of the earthquakes, okay? All right, I'm going to listen.
Thank you, sir. All right. I can probably take one more quick one as we approach 9 o'clock. Let me see here. 5 minutes. Let's see who we have here. Hello, good morning.
Hey, Dominic, good morning.
Yes, sir. Morning.
All right, they hear me good. Thanks for the education again this morning. And I don't I'm not to stop making them utterances, because like every time she make utterances like that, it better put me in a position to debunk most of the nonsense she speaks, because she's talking about, I'm gonna try to mix it up about the Venezuelans that are here and we're gonna send them back and all this kind of nonsense. I remember Kamala Prasad discussed that when the government take the policy and sending back people, they would run with their senior and all of them run into the court to say that you come in the country illegal, that you have a right. You break the law and that's a universal law. You cannot enter anybody's country without the undocumented. You have the cat take the back door and sneak inside. But Kamala, lawyers and them in the UNC, took the government to court to fight for these people's rights, the thing, and now she turned back now to tell us something totally different, because you see she flip-flopping. She doesn't have a clear strategy, she doesn't have clear policies, she makes them up as they come along. So now you're telling us that, but Kamala does not understand that as it is now, the government has put things in place. There's a place in Venezuela that it's only Trinidad and Tobago embassy, that a Venezuelan wants to come to Trinidad and work, or he wants to come for a holiday, he can go and apply. And then if he's successful, he comes. And that way, you can cipher out if you're going to allow a criminal to come here, or somebody with intent to do crime. And the same thing she's trying to talk about, the crime and the Venezuelans who come here and think that is why we have the embassy in Venezuela for. So we know when you come, you're good. We can trust you. But the others that they would protect, the ones who would know that they're not qualified and they won't be able to get it anyway. I want to sneak through the back door. And when the Coast Guard interceptor tried to intercept them, they tried to ram it. And when these guys have to take the measures to stop the boat in its track by giving warning shots, and a child is being shot on the warning shot, cannot call the soldiers, the Coast Guard officers in the line of duty murderers. That is the lady. That nothing changed. That is the same lady. That is the same lady who spoke recently there. That is the same lady who said that she supports Guaido and she supports overthrow of a sitting democratic government. So far, she has not rescinded that statement. And on top of that, Venezuela went to the polls and Maduro won again. Where was Guaido? Guaido, they put himself up. Guaido hiding because it's alleged that something with some misappropriation of funds and Guaido and the party. So how kind of nonsense we ain't? And that is what Kamala was backing. So if Kamala Prasad, God forbid, and I use that for that word forbid, if Kamala Prasad becomes our prime minister, we wouldn't be better off. We'll be sinking because I don't know how she'll patch things up with Maduro, and she will be expected by the Americans to continue on what Dr. Rowley has built. And I'll tell you why. Shell, which owns BP, is a major company of the United States. Right? They are very large, they're very big, they bring lots of revenue into the United States economy. On top of that, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the largest exporter of natural gas to United States of America. So when Dr. Rowley would have met with the House of Representatives in the United States on both sides to sit down and execute his plan together with the American business people, his citizens, which is Shell and BP, they would have come up with that, and Trump was already the leader of the party, the opposition at the time. So the opposition in the government were told the maths and how they were going to go about this to ensure that the deal that Dr. Rowley has put forward would not be affected by sanctions. So I don't see it happening. Donald Trump is a businessman, and I wouldn't be surprised that Donald Trump has shares in Shell company. I mean, is this people managing his business, is CFO? Part of the thing these do is look to invest in big companies and buy shares in to build your assets and your thing. And I sure maybe, I don't know Trump all Trump's business, but I think Trump may have shares into these companies. So for him to come and just shut it down because of what, Kamala? Who is Kamala? You think Trump really had time with Kamala Prasad-Bissessar? And Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is trying to be Trump number 2 in Trinidad and Tobago. She's trying. She's not real. She's just trying. And she's being more ridiculous and useless to this country. Because I realized last night on TV6, when I heard they asked the question about Kamala Prasad-Bissessar utterances, if you think that it was thing over there. I was very angry because I was telling myself that, look how they asked that question. I said that the UNC sycophant will come and change it and make things for that. But to my surprise, and I think it overtly surprised too, because her face light up in a kind of way that, oh my God, 100% say that she was wrong. If you go back and check it, 100% of the people say that the utterance that Kamala made about the Venezuelans, if she was out of place or something, I think that was it. And 100% said yes to the question on TV6. Apparently, they didn't get time to edit it. But they had to put the facts where it is. They can't lie because basically it's just like when you're doing things like that, you're running those things come like national lottery. That if you want to apply to national lottery, the real raffles or anything, you can fix them things. So basically, that's why I really gotta run with what the people say. But Dominic, Kamala Persad says, it's the more she speaks, the more we realize that she really don't make sense. And your program, together with the other programs, Darian, Bruce and Sharon, and everything, a lot of people now turning to you all for the correct information. Because a lot of us out here, sometimes we don't know, we don't understand. But when we hear things, and especially when the opposition who know, we know we can't trust when anything we hear coming from them, we look for second opinions. So if they come with something, and they say, most of the time, they don't make out sketch us. They will take an issue and turn it around and twist it around and come and present it back to you and with it and a totally different thing that actually happened. So it wires us up, right? And it's the voters that go after. And it's called Cambridge Analytica. It wires us up and we say, well, we are no party with PLM, and I hate Rowley. And I think it's at one point of time in my life, I hate Dr. Rowley, and I asked myself, why hate him for? And really, actually, was nothing that this man have done that I hated him. I just hated him because everybody hated him. And when Kamala and them use race into the politics, that is what they do. That is why people hate Malcolm Jones. And Malcolm Jones and another thing and the GTL plant and all that. But they won't talk about EBD. They won't talk about Mamu hiding in Panama. They won't talk about those things. But you know, the flip side of Malcolm Jones, although, and it was very unfortunate that money has been lost, and it's not something that, you know, but you couldn't just blame Malcolm Jones for that, because Malcolm Jones is not a project manager. Malcolm Jones is not the person who have to carry out the thing. Malcolm Jones is led the board with his other directors, and then so he had the other directors, and then he had the managers come down and the thing. And if they go into a project that he is implementing, that he has the plan of everything, this stuff, this whole thing, and everything is. And the people who trusted to do the job because taxpayers was paying them did nonsense. I can't just blame Malcolm Jones alone. Yes, he is in charge. He has to give the answers to everything. But he has to give the answer based on what they do. But to come and tell me that Malcolm Jones is this big criminal and this big thing of TNT, that's how UNC plaster the man out of everything. What the other side of Malcolm Jones is the things that he has done for this country that have us on this pedestal. You can't take away that from the man. So to me, Malcolm Jones is more a hero than a villain that they want me to think that. And when you start to think independently of what they say, because they will tell you things that you believe in that is true, which the twist is it's not true. It is not factual. It's not the facts. So when you get the facts, then you will see things differently. And that is why debunking the lies with facts is very important. As a matter of fact, it comes that staple for me now in life. Because without you, I would not make informed decisions. Like sending my daughter to Jamaica, that costs a lot of money. She has to go to Jamaica in University of to do forensic science. And it's for an 18-month period. And that means that now I have to go to the honorary lending agency to borrow to invest with my daughter. And if I do whatever we call, when you do your forecast based on the economy and the way the country is run, these things come into play because you're not going to invest that money and you're hoping that investment pay out dividends. Nobody goes into any business to lose money. So when I do that, I know that our country is stable. Because remember, at the end of the day, I have a loan to pay back, a loan to support. Other than that, and I still have to eat and drink. So when Kamala and them do these things to us as poor people, it's not right. What they want Kamala and them government is to keep you in poverty. And that is why I agree with Dr. Rowley. Nothing is wrong with the rich getting richer. but the poor must come out of poverty. So you see that library with the amphitheater and all these things, they're adding up what it has. That's 3-story building. They look at the cost. Oh, they're wasting money and all kind of nonsense. But that library, I say that library and the one down in the Martin there by me down here. This is a tool given by the government to the youths who say no money block and want to sit on the block, and instead of going and pull out a weed and you want a cushion, you want that and does nothing and just blame the government for everything. You know what? Let the government for something, educate yourself. So when you educate yourself, you can start your own business or you could be employable. Go and educate yourself. But the thing is, I saying is that what we need now, the government provide the opportunities. But the government, there's no law that stipulates that the government has to make you take a child, go and use the library. There's no law against that the government can do that. The people and the parents of the children, the community has to do their part and encourage the children and teach them the benefits of educating yourself, because it doesn't say here you can be educated into a field and get jobs outside of Trinidad and Tobago. So and it has everything in the library, not just for the academics. You can go and use that to further yourself in any field that you want to get into, to get the correct information and how to think of them. You get the right coaching and you get the right, the right thing there. So you're educating yourself. So you're no longer depend on UNC to give me Columbia Orange and all these baby grant and thing grant and again a hamper and again all that. Because they fooled us with them stupidness and they want to keep you there. They just tell you, Kamala gave out laptops. She gave out grants. She gave out hampers. But how does that benefit my family in the long run? It does not. The library benefits my family in the long run. My child can go there and study in an environment that is for studying. She don't have to sit on the home and bacchanal outside, somebody fighting outside or some bacchanal to a car passing around music, boom, bam, 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 all the wares in your little buffet shaking up, everything and being disturbed and can't focus. But in the library, that environment can help them. And there's the access to knowledge inside the library. So you can now open your third eye and move on in your life and becomes independent of the government, and that is what will make this country a stronger and better country. Not what Kamala and they want to do is hold us in bondage. So we can just praise Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. They all hail Kamala. Everything is Kamala. They go into that election, not UNC, it's Kamala. Vote for Kamala, not vote for UNC. Vote for Kamala. Not vote for the representative in the area that represent the UNC. No, vote for Kamala. You vote for them. Everything is Kamala. Kamala is their God, not my God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Kamala 2015, Kamala 2025. Yep. So folks, thank you all so much for joining me, as always. You're welcome, Roxanne. I was going to respond to something I saw Winston Bachelor said, but I no more trees, no more cane refinery, no more oil refinery. The PNM have no vision for our country. Poor soul, poor soul. When you want to hold on to the colonial past, no more trains. Patrick Manning, the PNM Vision 2020, 2030 wanted to have rapid rail. Where is the rapid rail now, Winston? Who killed the rapid rail idea? You wanted to still have these same old trains that we had how much donkey years ago? Or should we have moved into modern technology? Who did that? Do we have the money now to afford it? When we were in a better position to afford it. But the UNC said it was a vanity project. They talk about how much money was spent on how much money was spent on the the feasibility study. I mean, come on. You want to talk about no more cane? Really? Cane refinery? There was a cane refinery. There's refined cane? Come now, man, Winston. Seriously? Who you want to go? You go in and cut cane in the hot sun now? Who go in and do that? Kamla Prasad Bisasan and Basan Bharat probably. Let me just take this last one quickly and then jump out. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Just now, 1 sec. Yes, hold 1 sec.
Hello?
Hello. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on there. Hello. Okay. Bachelor, I will deal with you on another day. Right? I'll deal with you on another day. Making sense this morning. Sunday, folks, we will chat. Let me just take this last call quickly. Gotta go. Darian would see. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Dominic?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dominic, I'm calling you on an emergency here. Leave Bachelor alone. You have to go to work. You have better things to do. Leave him with his stupidness. The person cannot be convinced. He's going to beat you on experience because he's stupid. He has a degree in stupidity. And don't let your common sense, your energy waste time on this nincompoop. And you have better things to do with your time.
Indeed.
I am thankful for what you have delivered for us today and every day. Don't let this nincompoop waste your time and energy that you could be doing something else. We are thankful. I am grateful for all that you have done, all the knowledge and things. Ignore this nincompoop. He cannot be convinced, and he will bring God and tell you why you didn't fix Noah's ark and all that kind of stupidness. He's a jackass, right? Leave him alone, ignore him. The next person you have to ignore is the other old man. Leave he alone too, right? They don't come with facts, they come with just stupidness, allegation, and trying to disrupt the knowledge that we get. Thank you very much. Thank you for all that you have done, and leave these jackasses alone. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. So clearly, this caller takes in the program from YouTube. I see they have a new one now by the name of they're all coming up by Caribbean Trini or something so. Caribbean Soul. All right. Why not open a technology center rather than wasting money on a big building with books? Because he figured that all the library have his books. Say what now? Caribbean Soul. I need you to go on Foster Cummings' Facebook page. Foster Cummings' Facebook page. And just look at the pictures. And you would see it is more than books. Right? There's plenty more than books. There's a whole auditorium so that they could have meetings there. There is the computer area where they have computers. People could come and sit down and go and do their research. You could surf the net and all of these different things. Go and check the pictures and you will see there are meeting rooms and all of that. It's not what you think a library is. Come now, man. Eric, I had to go. Go. We can talk Sunday. Folks, thank you all so much. If I go to entertain these people here, it will take me the rest of the day and I don't have time because I have to be in Diego Martin for 11 o'clock. Yes, who killed the train to bring the PTSD bus? By something like that. Who killed the rapid rail? I'm just saying, all I could answer me that, go from here with all your nonsense. All right? We should have had modern trains. Modern trains. Who killed the rapid rail? Tell we, let me talk that talk. All right? You're asking if one does not refine sugar. Oh, God, boy. Oh, gosh, boy. Winston, as the guy said, over there with you. And this next one, Mr. Trini, PNM closed down the train system. Who shut down the rapid rail? Answer that now. We should have had a new modern train here. Unless all I can answer that, all your nonsense. Miss me with all your bull spit. Okay? We should have been earning money from the smelter plant. Who shut down? Who canceled the smelter plant? Let me talk about that. Who did that? Who shut down the mega farms? Right? That should have been, we could have been exporting agri-products. We could have been doing agri-processing. Who shut down the mega farms? Let me talk about that. And tell us the government should not be competing with the private sector and then they come and give you something called Caroni Green. Spend millions and millions of dollars for peppers and something else. And there's an article that says Caroni Green, millions spent, little to show. But we're going to read that article another time. I've read it before. all kind of bubble and corruption. It was so bad that the UNC, the People's Partnership themselves, under Devan Mirage, had to commission an audit, had to bring in, I think it was Pricewaterhouse or one of them to do an audit, and his only bubble was in that Carney Green initiative. You want to come and talk to me about train and about refining? Mess me with that nonsense now. The infrastructure of the train was there. Who shut down the rapid rail? Go from here with your nonsense. Folks, we will chat on Sunday at 11, God's willing. All right? And they will come back with the choppiness. But again, if you're not telling me about the rapid rail, we're not talking trains. All right? If you're not going to tell me who shut down the mega farms and so on, we're not talking about no Carney, because the shutdown of Carney started under Pandey. It wasn't making money. And if you want me to go and pull back the articles from Rafiq Shah telling you about the state of Carney, even before Mr. Manning came in, we could do that. Rafiq Shah is a man who knows. So go and do your research and read Rafiq Shah articles before coming here with that dotish talk about what the PNM shut down and what the PNM shut down. Miss me with that. All right? Who had shut down the youth camps? Have we talked about that now? Delinquent youths. Who shut down the youth camps? And who restarted it? Well, they need help. Folks, enjoy the rest of the day. Make it a productive one, as I always say. And God's willing, we will chat again on Sunday. All right? Take care.